Good afternoon, and hope you're having a great day. As I mentioned yesterday, this week's Torah portion is Parshat Noach, the portion of Noach. We read about Noach, who was born before the flood, and then God decided to bring a flood upon the world and destroy civilization except Noach. And then Noach comes out after and has to rebuild. And it's interesting because the first verse starts like this: Eila toldot Noach. These are the offsprings of Noach. Noach ish tzaddik. Noach was a righteous person. Es Elokim ithalech Noach. Noach followed God. In one verse, it says Noach's name 3 times. And really it's superfluous, because the Torah could have just said, Eila told us Noach, these are the offsprings of Noach. He was righteous and he went with God. Why does the Torah have to say Noach's name 3 times? What's the message here? And the rabbis tell us something very powerful. What the Torah is telling us is something very unique about Noach. You see, Noach lived through 3 different periods. He had 3 different lives, so to speak. He was born, he had a family, he had parents and grandparents and uncles and aunts. Life was good. And then that was his first period. The way most of us are used to growing up, you live in America, you're born to parents, you have lovely uncles and aunts and grandparents, you go to nice schools, you go on vacations. But then Noach lived through the destruction of the world, the flood, which totally and radically changed civilization. And suddenly Noach was living a whole different life. There was destruction, there was devastation. He was living in a flood. He was living in the ark when the whole world was getting destroyed. And then Noach comes out, and he has to rebuild the world. He sees a world that's devastated, that's destroyed. How do you rebuild? So really, Noach lived through 3 times. The first was the way he was born. Life was normal, destruction, and then rebuilding. And the truth is, that what do we read about Noach after he comes out of the ark? Firstly, we read about Noach. He plants a vineyard, he gets inebriated, and he falls asleep. Many rabbis will tell you that Noach was the first one that suffered from PTSD, post-traumatic syndrome. He watched the entire world get destroyed. It was not easy to overcome it. But what else do we find about Noach, like I mentioned yesterday? When Noach builds an altar and gives gratitude to God for the life he had. And you know, it's interesting, because many of our parents and grandparents lived through such a thing where they had a life before the Holocaust. Then the Holocaust came and everything was shattered. They lived through the greatest misery. And after that came the rebuilding. And I think about it when I think about the hostages who just got released after 2 years in the tunnels of the terror Hamas. They lived a life, they were born in Israel, so to speak, a life of relative comfort. And then they had the 2 years of the flood, just like Noach. That's the second Noach. And now they have the hardest of all tasks, to rebuild after 2 years in destruction. And there's no question there's PTSD, this post-traumatic syndrome, there's challenges, there's struggles. But what we see, which is so remarkable about these hostages, is the way they're responding. Take, for example, Rome Blaslavsky. Rome Blaslavsky, the terrorists did a unique thing with him. They tried to offer him all these special things, soaps and foods, on the condition that he would convert to Islam. And imagine, he's in the tunnels in Gaza, he doesn't know if he'll ever come out. Yet Rome refused. He absolutely refused. And they kept him in shackles for 2 years because he refused to do what they said. When Rome came out, the first thing we see the pictures is of him wrapping tefillin and thanking God. And his mother said, he kept on saying, I'm a Jew, I'm a proud Jew, I'm a strong Jew. These people lived through, just like Noach. Eila told of Noach, these are the offsprings of Noach. They lived a life of comfort, a life of joy, and then they had destruction, Noach ish tzaddik, and then they had to rebuild. And have all the confidence that although it's going to be hard, and there's so much trauma and struggle and PTSD to deal with, that these remarkable heroes, God will give them each the strength to be able to overcome and rebuild their lives. Just like Thursday night, we're having Sasha and Sapir come here. Sapir was in captivity for only 50 plus days, so that's not her only. And Sasha was there for over 500 days. And yet, They were boyfriend and girlfriend, and they just got engaged, and they're going to get married to build a Jewish home. May God give us the strength to rebuild the Jewish people, just like Noach learned how to rebuild after the destruction of the world in the time of the Teva, the ark, when God told Noach to go into the ark and destroy civilization.